So we should be live right now. Want to make sure we are. You there?
Yes.
Okay. I hope everybody can hear us and that we're not having a. There. I think they can. Okay. Lyle, I know what your question is, and we're going to get to your question. I actually have your chart set up. But first, we have to do the class and go over a few things. So I think our sound is good, and that's good
Yeah, I
news.
think so.
Okay, and that's good news. And now let's get to
Yeah, but
the, pardon?
no, no. I mean, you are a bit quiet compared to me.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll work on balancing the sound. I know Stephen was complimenting your microphone when we were doing the sound check,
Right.
and then he came out and he wanted to have a whole conversation about nicest microphone. I'm like, you're gonna have to wait until after the show, not now.
Okay, but this is great. This is great.
Okay. So, and it took a little getting
Yeah.
used to. So I want to see how our timing is, particularly. It's a little bit slow.
Hope there's no lagging and everything. Mm.
Um, well, there's a little bit of a lag, and I'm trying to see where it's coming from. I think there might be a little bit of a lag, but listen, I think we can get through
Mhm,
today and
mhm.
find out where the problem was.
Yeah, we're just gonna run the class, and then if you have any questions, I think we would have to respond to those questions at the end because like there's a lag and everything. But yeah, we have Anna prepare a presentation for you guys, so we're just gonna talk through all of that and just give some comments, and then at the end we can yeah
Right.
interact with you guys. Yeah.
So you know where we are. We're at
Mm-hmm.
live. We're at the My Astro World live
Yeah.
Uranian Astrology Show, and we know that one of the first things that we like to do, because we believe strongly in it, is before every show we like to pray. So we hope you'll join us in prayer, and then we'll get to the show part of this. So if I could get everybody to take a nice deep cleansing breath and a nice deep breath of unification with each other. And a nice breath of unification with God. And dear God, we gather here together at a dark time in a dark world. It is apparent that history is repeating itself, and we seek to heal and help by assembling and sharing clear Uranian astrology that is easy to understand and use. We invite everyone to collectively illuminate themselves and the world to enter here. Our goal is to shine brightly together. We seek, share, and spread only the highest Uranian astrology methods, and we lovingly invite the spirit of truth, wisdom, and clarity to abide here in all of us. May the light and love in our work spread and grow throughout the world, and so it is, and we thank you. Amen. So we have to we need to get you to talk a little bit about some changes that were made, and we didn't have an opportunity to come and do a show about it.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple of things. And before we get into that, let's explain what's been going on with our problems. First, when Windows updates, it knocks all of our software off. But what happened between April and now is they turned on that supercomputer and it knocked everything off. I have like medical stuff that we're having to re-sign. I have doctor's appointments for Stephen. I have to hard copy hand them paperwork because of the way they interwove. When they turn this supercomputer on, every place where I'm doing things for people, like I do things for Stephen and I do things for my landlord. What my landlord uses my email address all the time. So now they know who's who, and there's this just big fugazi thing. So it's like Steven's medical stuff, my medical stuff is all. They're like, who is who? Whose email is what email address and what phone? Like they want everybody to have a separate email address, separate phone. Like, oh, so and there was that, and it was crazy. And no sooner we would resolve one problem, we'd have another problem with an update. And I've actually we paid somebody to get OBS working for us, and the whole thing crashed on us again.
Mhm.
And I reset the whole thing. So it took a lot to overcome a lagging issue. It took a lot to overcome the sound issues. It's a whole thing. And, if anybody's on OBS and they're using OBS and they've been having problems, you should talk to me because I'm pretty much an expert at this point.
Yeah.
But there was that, and we had other things going on, and nice moves country. We said that before. You moved countries, and there was just a lot going on in both
Yeah.
of in both of our lives, and there's still a lot going on. But we're here nonetheless to try to get everyone um, what they need, which is explanations on what we've done and give them good Uranian astrology. So I have to turn this over to you because these were your additions to the app. You
Hmm.
you added
Yeah.
these easy to use graphs. So I'm going to let you talk to everybody about this for a minute. So this is the first graph, which if you click on your app, the very top option, the on the, I guess it's the left-hand side. Yeah, it would be the left-hand side. The top
Right.
option,
It would call,
yeah,
right. It would be called like midpoint analysis.
right.
So this is essentially the main thing that we use for predictions and just on one axis. So initially you can just move the red dial to be right on whichever axis you want to analyze, and then you can pull this graph. So this essentially just group all the midpoints on that axis to each of the arrows. So like the first one is on a 0 degree. So right now, for example, on this example, it's just the red dial is on the Aries point, right? So it's going to be shown on a 0 degree, and then what else is on the 0 degree on this axis? And then, the 22.5, 45, and then 67. So all of this, we in our practice, we group them because each of them are sort of their own paragraph, their own grouping. So they're meant to be read together in groups, and then you read them together. Like
Right, their
you
own
bring all
story,
together.
their own
Yeah, they are
particular,
no story.
right.
So you have your natal graph, and then you have your directed graph, which is like the year essentially. So what is on the
There's
same
your natal.
axis? Yeah, that's the natal. That's the directed. And then the third one is the double. The double is essentially when the natal and the directed form a double pattern. Like we would talk about this like when we talk about triple patterns and stuff like that. So essentially in Uranian astrology, things are going to happen when there are patterns. Patterns gonna form when the natal patterns align with the directed patterns, and then it's gonna uh, the transit. If the transit confirm the pattern, that's when things gonna happen. This is
Hold on.
essentially the class. So if you took the class, if you been staying with us, you will notice that all of these are the things that we use, and we normally have to calculate by ourselves.
One second.
But yeah, I added that
One
to the
second. Yeah, one
I
second.
added that to the app, so we don't have to.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I was going to show them on the dial because I have the
yeah,
chart
yeah,
up.
of course.
So what he's trying to tell you is if you're at 0 degrees Aries over here and you go to the midpoint analysis, this is the
Mm-hmm.
graph. This is the graph that you guys are looking at.
Yes.
Okay? So here, of the very chart. See? It's the same graph.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to what we were doing over here. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. I just wanted to show them
Mhm.
the dial.
Yeah, no, 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 of course, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I,
And that's our next thing. What people don't realize is the next thing we have to work on OBS is so that Nice and I can both show our computers
like,
and
share
both
the
teach,
screen.
right, and both teach this class together. But with all of the OBS problems,
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's
no, no,
okay, I
no.
think.
We're gonna. We will in the
Yeah, we
next
are
week
getting
or
there. We are getting
we're
there.
we're every listen. This has always been a cha-cha. It's 2 steps forward, one
Mm-hmm.
step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And look, we're still here and we're still trying and we're still working. And believe me, it takes a lot. Okay, so go ahead. You can finish. I just wanted to show them the dial that it's the same graph. That if they do that, that's
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
come up with. Okay.
yeah. So we have that, and then we have the NATO, the directed, the double, and the transit. So all of
Okay.
this, if something's gonna happen, all of these gonna form a whole story. So the NATO, the directed, the double, and the transit. Like for example, the double. That's I don't know if you can go back to the chart that you have and show them what the double mean. Like the double is essentially like for yeah, just go to the yeah right now. So for example, can you bring up the graph again? The midpoint analysis. Yes, and then like as you can see on the 0 degree node of Holland, like the midpoint of node of Holland is on this on the NATO Aries point. So if you just draw the line for node of Holland, yeah. So this can you like right click and then draw? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they can Apollon. Draw the half sum lines. No, just draw the half sum lines. So people can see. Uh, or you can just go to the sacred geometry button. You, no, the second, the third one. Yep, that one. And then just select node and Apollon and then add it. Node and then Apollon. Right, and then add it. Yeah. So as you can see, the double is essentially the NATO making a yeah, that's it. The NATO midpoint is making a pattern with the directed midpoint on the Aries point axis. Yeah. It's gonna sound complicated in the beginning because but if you took the class, you will see that this is essentially how to find the triple pattern really quickly and just glance on like what doubles are forming on the Aries point right now, what doubles are forming on any axis point right now. So it's gonna give you the quick glance of what is going on. And if you took the class with us, if you have been following us, you will know that the solar arc, the Aries point on the solar arc is essentially your year. So essentially, just to summarize, you can look at your year just based on this graph alone. Like you can see what's going on, what's going to happen this year. If you put your red dial on the directed Aries point, you will just quickly glance at what's going to happen in a year for you. But of course, like yeah, you've been with us, you would know that this is not all there is. There's always going to be something else. So we have to look at the whole dial. But this is essentially the first step of how we gonna yeah inspect the graph and everything. Yeah. So Anna, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, if you're reading a complete stranger, that's where you start at the solar
Right.
arc. If they
Yeah.
haven't told you anything, if somebody wants
Mm-hmm.
a cold reading, you start with the solar arc. And
Yeah, and you can look at graph
you look for,
test, or you
yeah,
can
you
just
look for
yeah,
patterns.
exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. And then
that's
you can
why
uh,
this is very helpful. But this was not the only thing that you did to make our work easier. This was not at all the only thing that you did. So let's bring up whatever else you did. Can we do that? And we'll talk about that. Okay.
mhm.
Because that there's more to it than that, and it's helpful.
Yeah, I think people already asking about like, is it just for doubles or is it for triple as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
it's
get
it's
to that.
it's all in here,
We'll get
guys.
to that. Give us a minute. Just give us a minute,
Yeah.
folks.
So
There you go.
yeah, as you can see that at the top there are different tabs. So the first one is the one that we just shown. The second one
The
is the
hassle.
covering.
Right.
Yeah, the covering is essentially what's cover which planet right now. So as you can see on the directed, right? The directed ascendant is covering the natal Uranus right now, right? So as you can go back, I don't know if you can go. Is it the
I'm
same chart
actually
that you
I'm actually doing it, but it's not keeping up time. We have to work on this lagging situation a little bit. It's
have? Right,
lagging.
right,
It's
right,
lagging.
right.
So there's the ascendant that he's
Yeah,
talking
yeah, it's
about,
okay. It's like,
the directed
yeah.
ascendant to the natal Uranus.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
covering basically, and on which degree that it's covering. Like because we are playing with the 90-degree dial, it can cover at 0 degree, 22.5, 45, and
Right.
67.5.
And
So I grouped it for you guys so you guys can immediately see like how are the covering like. So like right now the ascendant and are covering the Uranus at the 0 degree. So it just like overlapping right now. Yeah, the same
so
thing with moon pollen and stuff like that.
so
So you
what
can,
well, let's talk about that. So what this does is,
mhm,
if this is why we want everybody to really become familiar with the rules for planetary pictures, because if you
right.
have done what we have asked you to do, and I've said this to people and they don't like hearing it. I was like, you really want to learn this? Type up the rules for planetary pictures. Do it twice.
Mhm.
Really, do it 2, 3 times. Type up the rules for planetary pictures a couple of times. You'll begin to you will begin to commit all of this to memory. I know it seems impossible, but the more you use it, the more familiar it'll be. So if you know this, it's like, well, natal Uranus, so those are his natal surprises and technology and sudden shocks, and then it's his directed ascendant.
Yeah,
So his associations, his
yeah.
colleagues, not his personal
So
associations, but like his
proximity.
colleagues,
Yeah.
right? Professional,
Mhm.
is sort of impersonal, that are in your environment. Like when you go to work, you work with a lot of people. Most people work in an office, they're working around a lot of people. This is your
Mhm.
environment. These are your
Yeah.
associates. These are relationships, but they're
Hmm.
not very personal. And when it's just the ascendant. So, obviously, with a directed ascendant, there's a lot of shock and commotion. He's running for president. There's got to be all kinds of new people. So,
Yeah.
this is
Well, we
why
haven't told people which whose graph this is, whose chart this is.
This is Bobby Kennedy's graph.
Right. Hmm.
This is that what I did is I decided to use Bobby Kennedy's graph for the particular purpose of going over the graphs, because
Right.
it's a chart we have to go over, and I didn't want to do Biden and I didn't want to do Trump, and I really don't want to do any of them. I don't think anybody should I'm not really sure anybody running for office should be on the ballot, but that's my opinion. Okay. So
Yeah.
I vote to reelect no one. If you've been in political office, like seriously, I want to see like Joe the shoe salesman, like somebody who deals with people all day in the most miserable, who really actually knows what's going on in other ways. Just kick everybody out. Like power. Let's just get rid of you people.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
There
so
seems to be new connections coming in, but well, we can
yeah,
go through
yeah.
the
So this is
reading
Bobby. Yeah, this is
later on.
Bobby. This is Bobby Kennedy's chart.
Yeah.
But there's more. This was not the only thing.
Mhm.
Are you done with this?
Before we get to that, let
Hmm.
me just say that the pink one is essentially your personal bodies. So your Aries, your Sun, your Node, your Meridian, your Ascendant, your yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's all of
yeah,
your
your
personal
personal
points are in
points.
pink. All of your
Yeah,
personal
yeah,
points and the
in pink.
luminaries are
So
in
this way,
pink. And
right. So this way you can immediately see which planets are interacting with your personal points like right away.
okay,
Yeah,
so
and
that's
that,
very
yeah,
helpful.
great. Thank you.
Or a stranger's personal points. Again,
Uh,
this is extremely helpful when you're doing a cold read. This is
mm-hmm.
this all of this these were things that we had to do
Yeah,
manually before, and I'd seen graphs and other software. It wasn't quite what we needed. Like they were
right.
it was sort of close but no cigar. So there's
Yeah.
more,
Like
guys. Oh,
for
did you want me
example,
to
if
go back?
something is hitting. Oh no, no, it's fine, it's fine. I'm
Okay.
just talking. Yeah, like for example, if some planet is hitting your sun, it's your body, it's your physical body. So some that's gonna imply to your physical body. Like Hades, for example, that's gonna be, disease or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, that's just an example.
Or a
So the last one
disability,
is the
or working in
yeah,
dirt like Kenny.
yeah, exactly.
Kenny has Hades
Yeah,
and he has all this land, but he
yeah. And this is
works his
this is lit-
land.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And this is where we get into like the actual reading because you have to sort of like conclude everything, like the whole graph and the whole chart into like an actual story. But yeah, we will get to that later. So the last one is the triple pattern. So this is the actual triple pattern finder. So to use this, you just have to move the red dial, the red dial right on the axis that you want to analyze, and then you just pull this graph up, and it's just gonna find the pattern. So yeah,
Here, I'm just going to show him.
hmm
Wherever you move it, wherever you move the dial, it's going to start there.
yeah.
So,
So the left one is all the triple pattern is that are activating right now, and the
okay.
right one is the one that on the
The red
axis.
arrow. Just on the red
Yeah, and
arrow
you can
or the black
yeah,
one of the black arrows. It has to be on one of those
yeah.
arrows. See?
Yeah, and you can check it as well. You can because we have the function to draw the lines as well. So right now, for example, Chronos Apollon is making a triple pattern right on that axis, right? You can draw the lines to check it out as well. Like if you yeah, just to make sure. But yeah, we have that function for you. So if you can add, maybe can you add the line like Chronos
Yeah,
Apollon?
I just did.
Yeah. Okay.
I knew that's
Yeah.
where you were
See?
going, so.
Yeah. Yeah, see, so this is making a triple pattern right on his ascendant Saturn midpoint right now, like well on the actual planet as well, based on all of this. So yeah, you can
Oh,
add that to your reading.
that's actually closer to it. There we go. Right there.
Mhm. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Let's
another thing that we add, like the orb for the triple pattern is a little bit bigger than usual. Well, not usual. I mean, like I added that just so everyone can see because then you have to look at the patterns again and just make your assessment. Yeah, but I added that so we don't miss anything.
Well, remember
Yeah.
something. Here's the thing about this. And I had asked
Mm,
you and I told you about this. I said, "Listen, I think you need to widen the orb a little bit because if we are widening the orb, what we know is, oh, this may not be right on it, but it's coming. So, how do we use this? So, I have a situation right now in my life with one of my friends. Her father is end stage, he's in palliative care.
mhm,
And I've been telling her for some time to get her father to make a will. I think a will is something everybody should have, and certainly people who have a little bit of money, they need to, if you own property, you have some vehicles, you own a house, get a will. Make sure that your final wishes. And I would tell him, and he would say, he'd taken care of everything, and his family respected him, and what have you, and they would honor his will. Like, I've already taken care of this. I did this. I Lady Bird deeded this, and as it turns out, the inheritance that he thought was going to go strictly to his daughter is not going to go to his daughter if he doesn't get his ass back here, and he's in palliative care. So he is going to have to get in a truck and drive all these states across a bunch of states, a 10-hour drive to get here so that he can make a will,
Mhm.
so that his last wishes are. And why would this become an issue? Well, a couple of years ago, I had said this, and I was like, when he married this woman, I saw it in my friend's chart. I was like, oh, you better get your father to make a will, honey. This is not good for you. All right. She says, oh, nobody would ever do anything. Well, here we are, fast forward a couple of years, and this particular individual has already stolen money from him.
Mhm.
And I talked to Nice about it. Not a little bit of money, was it? She like
Yeah.
flat out just helped herself to a chunk of change. Okay, not change, big bills, couple of stacks of them. All right, so we're seeing it play out.
Mhm.
Why would I know that 3 years ago? Why would I know that last year? Why would I even think any of this? That's what the wider orbs are for. They are to alert you to
Yeah.
danger, potential danger or problems or illness or something. So if you're a if you're a good astrologer, it is not the right term.
Mhm.
If you're a committed astrologer, if you're committed to helping people,
Yeah.
then when you see things like that, you're going to focus on them. Because even if somebody's asking you, and she has asked me many times to look at her chart, but never for the things she needs, ever, never.
Right.
And she is not different than, say, Nice's friends.
Yeah.
And honestly, the truth is, most of us are never really asking when we're looking at our charts. We're not asking our charts
Yeah.
what we should be asking our charts. And that's what I like about these graphs. These graphs give us an idea not of what somebody wants to know about their chart, but really what you should be telling them. Like, you can answer their question,
Yeah.
but if you're
Yeah.
trying to help
Exactly.
somebody, if you're actually trying to help somebody, if somebody wants to pay you for something and that's what they want to know, then do what they want to know and go ahead and throw that out at them and go, listen, you may want to look at this at some point, whatever you
Mm.
see. But honestly, most people don't ask for what we as astrologers see in a chart that needs to be addressed.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's something that, I shared this with Nice. And over the past couple of years, he's really starting to see what I've been saying, that we get caught off guard because we're focused on one thing, like you're focused on a love affair and it's really your health.
Mm.
You know, you're focused on your health and it's
You're
really your
focused
job.
on money, but it
Yeah,
should be your son. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, happened
yeah, yeah,
before.
yeah. You're focused on one child when you should be focused on another child.
Yeah.
Or you're focused on your children when you should be thinking about yourself. Or
Yeah.
you're focused on taking a trip and you should be thinking about weather. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Something like that.
yeah, there's a lot.
And
So,
it's also the transition of story as well. Like, like for me, like I use the wider orb because like sometimes you are transitioning from one story, like one chapter of your life into another. So that's gonna tell you like how this transition is gonna go, like or why it is happening. That I think the wider orb is like because when you look at this, when you actually analyzing all of this, you have to consider everything. You have to consider how far is it right now? How far is this triple pattern with another triple pattern? All of these have to be taken into consideration. So that's why I added the extra degrees to the orb. Yeah.
yeah, and it is something that you will find useful when you're doing readings.
Mm-hmm.
Very useful. Tighten it up. That's the whole point.
Right.
We designed the app to make it easy to do a lot of research and to get a lot of information as quickly as possible so that you can move through the information as quickly as possible. One of the
Yeah.
things about the app is we can pull up 6 or 7 or 20 charts. We've had a lot of charts up, believe me. We've had like a whole tab going across where you can't see the tabs. They're just right on top of each other. And
Right.
that is, I think, for us and for our purposes of research and documentation and proving out astrology, these things are vital. But for you, the students and people who are, burgeoning astrologers, this is going to be cutting your workload down. I did this stuff manually when we used to have to cut the charts out and first handwrite them in and then cut them out 3 charts and lay them on top of each other. So I'm always looking for some kind of way to be more efficient in doing the work because it's time consuming. And if you are a professional astrologer, you're charging your clients for your time. So you need to be able to give them as much value
Mhm.
that's actual astrology, not you spending all this time getting it together, trying to figure it out. You really want to be able to give them answers. It's one of the reasons why I say, listen, when doing a reading, you get one question. Focus on one thing because believe me, one thing will take an hour. All right. Anything else you want to tell them about this?
Yeah, I think that's it from my. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So a lot of people want to talk about, and we tried to do a show, and we weren't able to do it on YouTube. Um, they they want to talk about the election, and I think it's a good thing to talk about for a reason, a, a legitimate reason. Okay. This typically you just do the prediction.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this particular election is going to be more complicated than the 2016 election. And in 2016, in March of 2016, I had already nailed it that it was going to be Trump. I mean, I knew it was like in March of 2016. I was like, okay, Bernie's going to win, but they're going to rig it for Clinton. Clinton looks good on election day, but Trump's going to get inaugurated. And I have the email to prove it. I still have that email. And I sent that email to some friends of mine that were in media. And because they kept telling me that she was going to win, and I was like, you're out of your mind. It's going to be him. So we know what happened. If you'd like to follow along and check with us, you can open up the app. If you don't have the app, register for the app. And the only way you're going to be able to use the app is if you confirm your email. So you may get a confirmation email in your promotional emails, or you may get it in spam or something like that because it says free. So anything that says free, they kind of automatically flag it as spam. Um, so, do that. Open up the app, confirm your email address, and then you have the free app that you can use. Now, because of the election, we know he's running, this guy. See this in a second. And we know that despite his conviction, he will likely be the Republican nominee. He's got the popular vote, and there's really no law that's stopping him from running. Although I don't think anybody in America understands the criminal legal system. He was convicted of a crime, and he's entitled to an appeal. He could spend he can do a 4-year presidency and still not have his appeal get to the Supreme Court because he'll just keep appealing it until it gets to where he needs to get it to win. And I used to work in post conviction, and I have to tell you something. I don't think that there is anything in the federal judicial system as far as the prison system, the Bureau of Prisons, that's where he would be, is in the Federal Bureau of Prisons. I don't think there's anything to house him. He's a security risk. Like, do you understand what happens when you send somebody like that into a prison? They're popular. They're not unpopular, but they're a security risk. So, And we all know what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. So Donald Trump, there's Donald Trump's data. If you want to pull up Donald Trump's chart, we're going to look at his chart. We're going to look at Bobby Kennedy's chart. We're going to give you all this information as we go. Here's Joseph Biden. Okay. And I have Kamala Harris as 10/20 1964 at 21:28 in Oakland, California. I also have Bobby Kennedy. No time on Bobby Kennedy, by the way, and I haven't had a chance because I've been so busy with this stuff. I haven't had a chance to rectify his chart, which should be easy enough to do. He's had quite a few events. He's had divorces. His father was murdered. He's got quite a few events that are public events and public knowledge. So his chart should be pretty easy to rectify. So he's January 17th, 1954, and we use a noon time on a chart when we don't have someone. So if you want to bring that up, and that's what we have. Those are going to be the charts that we're going to be doing. Also, the United States chart. Okay? Because I think that people forget that we begin at the beginning. And the beginning of having presidency would be what? A country. You can't be president
Yeah.
of something if you don't have a country.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't be a world leader. You can't, you need a country.
Don't
So
don't forget to tell them which date that you use for the US
uh,
chart.
I am. We're going to talk about that because it's very, look,
Yeah.
I have this debate online a lot and people don't like it because
Right.
this popular astrologer Sibley who says it's July 4th and that he rectified the chart. They all use the Sibley chart. I just want to appeal to your common sense. How can a declaration of war be the start of a country? We were at war for years. That's not the start of a country. The start of it's like when you incorporate. You have an idea to do something and to start a business, but the business begins when you incorporate. You make these
Mm.
things formal. Look, you don't do the date of conception of a chart. You do the day they're born.
Yeah.
The Sibley chart is like doing the date of conception. The date that the Bill of Rights was delivered to Manhattan at the end of the war after England conceded and had lost the war, and that was it, and it was over. And they developed and wrote and drafted the Bill of Rights, and James Madison delivered the Bill of Rights to New York City on June 8th, 1789. Right to the docks, the slave docks. That's where Wall Street began. So this is the US chart. And if you match this chart up to, say, Nagasaki and Hiroshima and a couple of other things like Pearl Harbor and other events that we've had, you'll see that you can find the start of war. This chart matches up. Okay, so I think it's important that we spend a minute or two on this chart because this is the chart for Inauguration Day and Inauguration Hour. And there's a problem with this chart, which is, oops, sorry. Right. Sorry, guys. I went a little too fast. There's a problem with this chart that was pretty obvious to me when I did this. And this is when I started looking into it. So this is not the Inauguration Day chart. But when I started looking into this, I was like, look at this. This is not good coming into to where we are now. If we look at, hold on a second, just give me a second here to get up what I want to get up here. If we look at Bobby Kennedy's chart, here's this Neptune. Here's this because we just have Bobby's chart up. So it is that day. But look at what this is. What is this telling you about what's happening in the United States? What's the primary thing? You've got Neptune coming to the Aries point.
Mhm.
This moves faster than this. This is going to cross over. And I want
Right.
everybody to just stop for a second and forget about the election. But this is where you start noticing things. I have old eyes, so I don't need the graph. I don't need the graph to see this. I know this is going to come to here very soon. And Saturn, Neptune are going to be in the Aries point. Within the next 2 years, everybody who has had health issues or problems, probably another pandemic, maybe all of the COVID shots and the clinical trial that they ran on people, which let me tell you something, you shouldn't be 100% paranoid if you got a COVID vaccine because you could have gotten a placebo. That's a fact. That they have to run placebos in a clinical trial. Okay? So this is concerning. The other thing that's concerning about this is where it is during an election and during an election where unfortunately, and this is the perhaps the most unfortunate part of what's going on, is that some of our candidates, their Neptunes match up, which means I think, I'm asking you, what do you think you should look for? But to me, it means we should really look for deception.
Yeah.
We have it way too close. And when we pull up other people's charts, okay, so whose chart is this? This is Donald's chart. Okay,
Hmm.
so no, this is the USA chart. I'm sorry. This is the USA chart. So in the USA chart, we can't use the moon, we can't use the ascendant, we can't use the meridian, but we can use the slower moving planets. And that's what you do when you don't know somebody's time. Eliminate. Do this. Do yourself a big favor and just, get yourself an epic pen, right? Get yourself an epic pen and just get rid of that and get rid of this. And then over here, get rid of this. Over here, get rid of this. Now, if you do that, you can read the chart in a less than personal way, but you're getting rid of, we don't know what time this was done. This is the USA chart. But what do we have here? And what are we looking at 1 p.m.? So, based on the graphs that that Nice and I discussed and we showed you earlier, and when we go through the rule book and we look at the chart, there are things that we need to look at that are standout in the USA's chart on inauguration day. So Uranus, Zeus. This is the triple pattern that we set up. The will, sudden fire, discharge of firearms, to fire, to splinter, fire explosion, bolt of lightning, sudden outbreak of war, electric motor, dynamo. So whatever's lining up with this on the solar arc and in other places is part of this story. I had recommended to everybody do Uranus Chronos, which is emphatic expressions, authority appearing suddenly, the formula of great tension and collected power. Keep in mind, this is a chart for an inanimate object for the United States, for a country. We are supplying Israel with weapons. We're definitely pissing off the Muslim world, other than the Saudis, because the Saudis are really pushing this along. And it's about war, it's about money. So we're fighting in the Ukraine. We're supplying Israel. We're all over the world. I mean, we're back in Afghanistan again. We're back in Iraq, I think, or we're back in Iraq, not in Afghanistan. I can't keep track. We got wars going on all over the place. And this is absolutely true come Inauguration Day. I think it's safe to say that everybody is concerned. They're concerned now, and I don't think they're going to be less concerned 8 months from now. So this is what we have and we're facing right now. Anyway, get rid of this and get on to the next thing. So this is the U.S. There's your natal sun on that day. The U.S.'s directed sun. The U.S.'s transiting sun.
Mhm.
And the midpoint goes right to the solar arc sun. So I can promise you that come election day, or not election day, but inauguration day, we're going to have issues with the inauguration, and it's going to be directly associated to the wars that we're involved in right now. Because if you look at the charts right now, they'll let you know that it's leading to this mess. Okay. This is the Uranus Chronos. And here's the Uranus Zeus. Or what was this? Yeah, this is the Uranus Chronos. Now, who matters in the United States? It would be the people, no?
Mhm.
So the relationships to the people, this would represent the people of the United States. We can't go by this, but these issues are going to most affect, obviously, the people of the United States. So let's get into why this is even important or why it matters, because this is Donald's chart on Inauguration Day. And what we have with Donald that gives me pause is this Mars Zeus over here, which, by the way, is gunfire. We have his directed sun and Zeus, and we have his timing. So we have his sun moon over here coming to the Aries point. We have his ascendant. This picture, just looking at his chart, the second I looked at his chart, I was like, son of a bitch, is this guy going to get elected again? This is Biden's chart. When I was first setting this up, I was setting this up and just I wanted to take a look because I was like, this is the two contenders. So look, Neptune, Neptune, Neptune to the Aries point. He just has Neptune, and he's honestly, Biden has been a sneaky, slippery son of a bitch, and there's so much deception with Biden stuff. Like, people forget history. Biden, when Jesse Jackson was running for president, Biden called Jesse Jackson on live TV, no less. He called Jesse Jackson boy. on live TV. He called a grown man boy on live TV. He is one of the architects of the Patriot Act. He's got dementia. Look, he has Neptune to the Aries point. Don't you think half the world knows just looking at Biden? It's like, ooh, that guy doesn't know what's going on out in the world. So these were things that, just as a quick look, I was like, you know, what what is this? This is not going to be an easy tell. I know everybody thinks that you can do these charts and you can answer these questions easy. And that's why I ask people, what stands out on those charts on an inauguration day? It's the Neptune. It's that Donald looks like he gets inaugurated, but Neptune's there. So you can't really count. And this is something that I think a lot of astrologers need to understand. You cannot depend upon anything so easily when you've got Neptune at hand. Look, we're going to go over Biden's chart. I have his chart up in a little bit. But just looking right here. So you have his solar arc sun, and you have the Aries point. What's going on with him out in the world? Right here. Look at the sun to the Mercury over here. Look at Mercury to the Aries point. This kind of gives you a indication. It's like, huh, is it his public communication or what's going on? If you see this, Mars and Zeus. Mars and Zeus. Do you see what this is? I wasn't worried because we didn't see a triple pattern, but I am concerned about this being here to the Aries point because whatever's here to the Aries point is going to affect everybody. It's not outside of the realm of possibility for somebody to try to make a play to assassinate someone on Inauguration Day. Even if it's just to create more chaos in DC. I don't know. I haven't had enough time to work on these charts, to be honest with you. I've been trying to put these things together. This is Trump's chart, I think. Is this Trump? Yeah, this is Trump's chart. And again, looking at his chart, we already know who he is. He's not much better than Biden. I think they both have a touch of dementia. Okay? And I think that if you realize and you look clearly, you realize that look, either one of these guys. And this may be the issue at hand, too. Maybe they don't know. I think it's a safe bet if everybody is going to be honest. I think it's a very safe bet that we've been having selections. Look what happened with Hillary Clinton. I can't prove it, but I suspect she was told she was going to win because these are selections. And the reason she did not come out and give her concession speech is because she was in a state of shock to find out on election night that even though she had garnered the popular vote, they were going to call it for Trump and say that the Electoral College had voted, which it hadn't. The Electoral College had voted and decided for Trump on election night. I think we're looking at another situation like that. Well, I don't think Biden knows what's going on anyway. But I think that the power is talking to these people about winning. Now, this, again, we're looking at Trump's chart because he's the one I'm a little bit convinced may actually win. And I'm concerned about it. And he's got, look, the Neptune. He has the Neptune, and the Neptune in a triple pattern. So the USA has Neptune in a triple pattern. Biden has Neptune in a triple pattern. Trump has Neptune in a triple pattern, all on Inauguration Day in D.C. at 1 p.m. So, well, this was the USA. And look, so the USA's solar arc and a shock, no less. Just remember when Trump got inaugurated, I told everybody Uranus was up here to the Aries point, by the way, or it was on somewhere it was hitting. And I was like, no, 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 it might have been over here at the time. I can't remember where it was because it was 8 years ago, but I remember looking at Uranus and thinking, oh, this is going to upend everything. And it was the thing that I focused on the most, and I tried to match it with everybody else's chart. And that's where we see like the shock for Clinton and the shock for Trump. And definitely the post mortem was there. We all know that there was a big shock. Now, look at this, Mishugats. This, wait a second. This is which one of these guys? Give me a second. Okay. I need a second here while I get you the chart that I want. Okay, which is, okay. All right. Let's see. Sorry, guys. Here we go. This is the USA chart. So again, when we match all of these issues up on for the USA chart, and we've got the war, we've got the Uranus Chronos, we have the Uranus Zeus, we have the citizens to be affected, we have Mars Zeus. This is why you have to look at the whole chart. We have Mars Zeus that day in transit, which is concerning because it's Mars Zeus to the Aries point. Okay, for inauguration day. So this is an issue too. Next. You guys are looking you guys have no idea how much work we still have yet to do because seriously, it could I think we're going to have a bigger shock
An
than we
easy
think.
thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so that was sorry,
Yeah,
that
but
was conjunct.
actually, Neptune there is a deception and all maybe a shock or maybe something that we didn't think of or something like that. Right?
I don't we have so much work to usually by
Yeah.
now I have this locked down. By June, I know who it's going to be. I usually know by March, April. March, April, I'm able to tell.
Take time. But you know what?
Yes.
Well, we talked about this. Like we spend so much time trying to fix. Well, you spend so much time trying to fix the sound problem and the lagging problem, and it like it's
Well, but you
always
had
one or the other. So we haven't. Yeah.
but the other issue was, and I think it's important that everybody stop and remember this.
Mhm.
It takes time. There are things that are very alarming. This is not an easy fix. You know what? Sometimes it is so easy. You can just look at something
Yeah.
and go, okay, this guy's no good. This isn't going to fly. But the charts of every one of the players make it highly questionable. And I'm about to throw a monkey wrench into everybody. Bobby Kennedy is not on the ballot in every state. He's still working to get on the ballot. That's a big part of the United States election process. Just because you're running in the party as, for a particular party doesn't necessarily mean you can be put on the ballot. We have states that are arguing about putting Trump on the ballot because he's a convicted criminal. And in Trump's case and for a national party, there's never, look, there's no way he can't be on the ballot in every state, same as Biden. But when you get down to like Jill Stein or Bobby Kennedy, who's running as an independent, they're not on the ballot in every state. It makes it much more difficult to be elected. But another part of the process in the American national and even, not the national elections, you can write in a candidate. So, based on that, I want all of you to go ahead and we're going to take a quick look at Bobby Kennedy's chart, and I'm going to show you why. And I'm actually going to tell you why, too. He wasn't a chart I was going to do. So I got a phone call, and this phone call that inspired me to look at Bobby Kennedy's chart. I get the phone calls from political people every year, every election. I get them. And sometimes it's just a regular polling, and other times it's not. And this one, they very particularly wanted to make sure that they were speaking to me. Okay, they were like, is this Anna Sanchez? Yes, it is. We want to poll you. It's like, we want to poll you. So it was this little out of the ordinary political call, and like I said, I receive them all the time. So during this particular call, that's giving me zero options other than Biden or Trump. If you've ever gotten a call from these political people during election year, they ask you questions if you were to vote right now. It's a whole series of questions. So I rejected the notion and any of their ongoing narrative against either one of these, that there would be nothing that could make me vote for either one of them. And when I refused every candidate, no matter what narrative they gave me, like for Biden, they were like, doesn't the thing at the border, isn't that bothering you? Or is that going to make you vote for Trump? Doesn't Trump's, current legal? Nope, don't care. Don't care if Trump gets convicted. Don't care if he gets acquitted. Don't care about anything at the border. I don't care about anything. And I said to him, I don't believe anything I read in the news. I don't believe anything that goes on media. It's all propaganda. And I even went on to say, why would I be afraid of what's at the border? You people have satellites out there checking on everything. If anything's coming across the border, it's because you want it to. I'm not concerned about that. I don't buy into the narrative. And when they realized who they were talking to, I mean, they just kept trying to get me to say that I was either going to vote for, if, first it was, are you going to vote? Absolutely. Am I going to vote for Trump or am I going to vote for Biden? Trump or Biden? Trump or Biden? And I wouldn't go for any of it. And I said to them, this call is being recorded. And they said, yeah. I said, listen, Trump and Biden, they both suffer from dementia. How they're even candidates is beyond me. And I don't know whoever else in the country is going to vote for one of these buffoons, but it's not going to be me. Okay? And I don't care what anybody says about third party and all this bullshit. When they're having selections, it doesn't matter. So finally, at the end, this was like a half-hour call. They were just getting really frustrated with me. And then they said to me, and they never mentioned anybody else, by the way. It's really important. They never mentioned any other candidates, despite my reminding them that, there were other candidates that run every year beside the Republicans or the Democrats. I just wouldn't go for it. So based on the questions of the caller, I looked at Bobby's chart because at the very end, when I refused, and I mean refused, and I gave them every reason, no matter what narrative they gave me about Trump or Biden, that I wasn't going to vote for either one of them, they said, what about Bobby Kennedy? And that's why I went and looked at Bobby Kennedy's chart. Because whoever's running these polls, they might be realizing it's a little too soon for the Civil War that they're obviously hoping we get into. But it might be a little bit ahead of time. In the meantime, I told you this earlier in the class, I have not been able to rectify Bobby's chart, but I wanted to show you Bobby's chart because it's worth showing you Bobby's chart. Okay? So again, we have the same situation with Bobby that we had with the USA chart. We can't count this. We can't count this. We can't count this. And we can't count this. And we can't count this. And we can't count that. Okay? These are the things that we don't count. But when I looked at Bobby's chart, Sun Chronos is the president. And Bobby had Mars Capito, Uranus. So I was looking for that. And then he had Mars Capito. And I don't know if you remember the United States chart, but Mars Capito is right here in the USA chart with Hades. And then, see,
Mm.
the Mars Capito. So I was like, huh, that's a pattern. He's replicating the USA pattern. And what does this mean? Anybody looking at Mars Capito? Somebody want to share what Mars Capito means? So I'm not the only one giving out information here? See, the Mars Capito. Oh, wait, gotta get rid of these. So Mercury Kronos to Jupiter is to be sworn in and to take an oath. And this was something that I felt we should take a look at. Because what is going to happen more than that at 1 o'clock that afternoon? Right? So I decided to run to take an oath against all of them. Since there's so much Neptune there, let's see. The Sun Kronos wasn't proving out. So let's see. Bobby Kennedy had Sun Kronos in a triple pattern. So this is Biden. No triple pattern on to take an oath. This is Kamala. And she looks like it's possible, but I don't understand how that can happen. And then we see Neptune there, by the way, on to take an oath. This is the Donald. And, you know, that's scary. And this is Bobby Kennedy. Next one. You'll see it in a second.
Mm.
So these are the only two with Kamala that have, these have the most solid to take an oath. Triple pattern. Obviously, we can go down all the triple patterns that day. I haven't had time to do it. I can tell you that my leaning is that it's going to be Trump, based on what I've already seen. It's hard to call it for Bobby without a time, so I need to rectify his time. That's pretty obvious. And we will spend more time on this. So if you have comments and questions, don't forget, like, comment, share. It helps our work. We do a lot for you guys. And do that, please, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, which is X now, which I think we're going to get off of Twitter, and on YouTube. Very important for us. YouTube and Facebook is where most of our social media stuff is. Okay? So that's really helpful, but the others are helpful too. So that's our
Right.
class, and I want to answer questions. And
Mm.
um, I know Lyle had questions, and I have Lyle's chart up. But if anybody has any questions about the candidates, I also have their charts up. Okay? So where are we at here? Because I haven't seen your questions. I've been doing the class. So I guess you posted a question to me, which
Yeah,
is
she's asking about the triple pattern.
okay. So he wants to know about the triple pattern in his chart. Let me see what's going on here. Let's pull up Lyle. Your chart is over here. So that's your chart, right, Lyle? Okay, so let me look at your things. Okay, Mercury on the transit line. Mercury moves 2 degrees in a day when it's not in retrograde. Okay, so the important thing about Mercury Chronos for that particular thing is they would have to be taking the oath that day at that time. If you look at Mercury in a chart, because it moves 2 degrees, like go ahead and put Mercury, do their charts for 11 p.m. Do their charts for 8 o'clock in the morning. Do their charts for 3 o'clock in the morning that day. And you'll see how far Mercury moves in a day. Mercury Chronos is, we want to look at Mercury Chronos. We want to look at their Sun Chronos. That's the president. We There's quite a few things we want to look at, but we can't really tell because Neptune is there. You would point out that colorblind cannot see the difference between the blue and the purple highlight things there. Yes, but they can still see the lines. I can't do anything about somebody being colorblind and changing. There's literally nothing I can do about it. As a matter of fact, because of color blindness and color issues, our website is black and white. So there's only so much we can do. At least they've got the lines. There's no other app or software that even puts the triple pattern lines up and makes it easier. Plus, there's the graph that they can check. So they have other options. Now, Lyle, you had questions. Are you still here?
Is here.
Okay.
Just texted yes.
Okay. So your question was about a triple pattern. Which triple patterns were you? Because if it's about a triple pattern, look, if we come over here, these are the triple patterns on the Aries point. You can come down here and just do that. So here, you see?
I mean, can you repeat your question again? Because I think like the multiple questions that you have. I think.
Now I know he had messaged me earlier today, and
Right.
he messaged me last night, and I'm like, I'm working. I can't with you people, all of you. He's not the only one. You guys really need to
Right. Right.
understand this. You have to stop private messaging me questions. Number one, that you should be posting on YouTube, on the show pages, or on Facebook. Put them there, and I'll get to them when I get to them. Okay? Messaging me, you're taking me away from whatever it is I'm doing because now I have to answer a question for you. Now I got to go look at who messaged me. What do they need? Okay, private messaging is actually what I use for a couple of friends of mine. That's like our primary. Renee and I in Walmart. We use Facebook Messenger to find each other when we get lost in Walmart if we have to go to Walmart together. That's what that's for. Okay. So my question is when planets line up on an axis focal point, does that indicate timing of events? Okay. No, the thing that indicates the timing of an event is the meridian and ascendant. The meridian is where you are, it's the moment, and the ascendant is where it happens. So it's in this moment, the meridian, the ascendant in this place. You want a triple pattern between node Poseidon in your chart. Okay, did you look at this yourself? And by the way, I'm going to address something else that's a big mistake you guys make. So this isn't quite a triple pattern yet, but it's coming there. Well, no, it actually was. It passed it. And then it'll pass it again because of the way the node moves. So the node is moving in this direction. So the transit for node Poseidon will come this way. Isn't it retrograde right now? Yeah, it's retrograde. Okay, but that doesn't mean anything. That just means that Mars is on the transiting line. Okay, let me explain something to you. This is the mistake of astrologers. That means nothing. You're telling me where Mars is. That's useless information to you because it doesn't answer what you really want to know. What do you really want to know? We can all see where Mars is, but that doesn't answer the question. You're obviously looking for something. What is it? Instead of, and here, let me tell you where we run into a problem. Okay? Everybody tries to go and predict things in the future rather than doing the homework assignment, delineating their natal chart like we asked them to, finding the triple patterns for events that have already occurred. Almost all of our students make the same mistake. They start jumping to try to do predictions before they've actually finished their homework. So this isn't a triple pattern yet, and you're asking about triple patterns, and we made this easy for all of our students because if you want to know where the triple patterns, so come look, let's see, where's the arrow? Right here. So on that Mars, right there, Venus, Jupiter, Venus is a pretty fast moving planet too, so Venus, Jupiter is in a triple pattern on that Mars. Watch. This would have been a day for love and family. Okay? Where's that Mars? There it is. So it's a little bit of wider orb. Let's see what we got going on here. Oh, is it there? There it is. There we go. See, there's the Mars. There's the triple pattern within 2 degrees. Are you seeing that? Then you go back over here. You have Sun Pluto there on the Mars. See how that worked out? These are equidistant, these are equidistant, and it's lining up to the Mars. Now, have you finished your natal delineation? Lyle, the question is to you. And I still don't know what you're looking for. Like what are you looking for in your chart? This is where we can help you. All of you are off searching like your master astrologers trying to predict stuff. This is where we say to you, listen, we're happy to go over your chart with you.
I
See,
I think the best thing, like at least for me, was to just pick an event, right, that had happened in my life, and then that I have the time for, like the exact time that things happen, and then just pull up the chart, and then we can talk about that particular chart. Because in all of this, like if you do that, you're gonna see that there are lots and lots of triple pattern activating on the day, and then you can go through each of them one by one, because all of this is like Anna said, like it's a language. Like all of this, the half sum, the midpoints, and the planets and everything are just like words or at most sentences. But then you have to summarize all of those things, all of those words, all of those sentences into an actual stories, and then you have to
know who you're
groups.
talking. Yeah, know who you're talking to and what you're talking about because
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because
Mars Zeus
yeah,
for us maybe gunfire or creative work, but
hmm
for a cop, if you're looking at a triple pattern of Mars Zeus and it's a cop who's out on the street, you're looking at potentially a shooting.
yeah, it could even be athletes, right? So
Right, exactly.
it's gonna take some time to because it's a language, and it's gonna mean like the same thing on a different chart, on a different dial, on the different axis could mean many things. So I think in order to not get confused into all of this, because I used to be confused as well. That's how I learned. Like would you just pick one.
Okay,
Okay.
so why are you looking at node? What was it you wanted? Node Poseidon. Node Poseidon isn't to change jobs. This is why go do your homework. Don't waste your time because you don't know what you're doing and you're going to get lost. Okay? To begin with, you have to start with employment or jobs and look at all of those things in the rules for planetary pictures and find the
Yeah.
one that indicates changing jobs. Also, if you've changed jobs in the past and you know when you did
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
that's
Exactly.
that's a key because it's going to
Yeah.
repeat itself in your chart.
Yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say that I think that the first thing that I would recommend you to do is your first job, like when did you get it? Exactly when, and like if you get the time, that would also be great. The time that you get the phone call that you got accepted for that particular job before this one, like yeah, like because everything in our life is just are patterns, right? All of these things that are in your chart have already triggered before, that have already happened before. So if you can find the exact time that things happen, like the same thing had happened for you, you can start with that, and then you can read through all of that, because it's a pattern. Your natal and your directed are going to stay the same throughout your entire life. So patterns, always go back and find the patterns, and then you can bring that into the current time that you have, and then you can just go through all of them. Because like I changed job as well. Like I talked to Anna about this, and even that take considerable amount of time to extract. And because if you okay, well, we don't have my chart right now, but looking at my chart, there's going to be a lot of things that indicate multiple jobs throughout my life, and I have always been doing that. Like I have been working multiple jobs at once. I have been changing jobs. I have been so all of that's going to stay in my chart. So
Yeah,
for my
contracts.
chart in
He has
particular,
contract. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
contract work and things like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
for my chart in particular, it takes time to because there's new jobs coming in every month or so. So it's difficult to find a particular point of a particular job that would be best for me or something like that. It's really unique because this astrology is it's really detailed, and it's really unique to a particular person. The best thing that you can read is just to go back to your event. Okay, you work in a rehab as a drug Okay. So do you know when did you get accepted for that job? If you do, then we can look at that date, and then we can go through the triple patterns that got activated that day. Yeah, so it's a rehab. So I guess I'm guessing right now. So Ma Hades have to be there on the day that you got this job, and then if you got it through, if you got accepted through a phone call, there's just supposed to be a news, receiving news, receiving great news, or maybe just a phone call directly or something like that on the day that you got this job. And then this is how this is the best way, at least for me, to just go back and look at my old events. Just dissect them and just trying to find a pattern. And then you bring that, if you found certain things, you bring that into your current time and see if those things got activated as well, like right now as well. So that's how you sort of
Yeah.
see, like, for example, I moved as well. I changed country. I go back and I see what happened when I first moved, right? And then when I was about to move again, that those things sort of activated again in a different places, but like it's the same thing. So
Yeah,
this is
you
how
can,
you just
and you
find,
can, what it can be is a different combination of the same planets.
right,
So it's
right.
like if you lost a job and it was,
Mm-hmm.
say, you know, ascendant Mars or Aries,
Right,
Mars, Saturn, that could be to die or to lose a
right,
job out in the world.
right.
Then maybe the next one is Mars, Saturn, and your solar arc sun is coming
The
through it.
combination is like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
just
there's that. And this is again, and I don't think that we really make this clear. This is why
right.
we have you do your natal chart and go back in the past. You have children, you got married, you have good dates, you have your children's birth dates. Once you establish in your own
Mm-hmm.
chart and you get used to what a triple pattern looks like for events that have already occurred, big events. We like you to pick big events because they're hard to miss.
Yeah, and you
Births,
went out
deaths,
after you went through
marriages.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
A
exactly.
job and move, it involves the ascendant. Just to give you a heads up,
Mhm.
both of those things can involve the ascendant. Until you've
Yeah,
rectified your chart, that can be somewhat problematic. So we ask you, we give you lots of tips and we tell everybody. It's like we're nags and we're just repeating ourselves. But there's a reason we do it because this is the thing that works. Delineate your natal chart. The step the next step after delineating your natal chart, and have us check it, because a lot of people think that their delineations are good and they're not. Okay? We've had to check a lot of very few people get their delineations right coming out of the gate. We usually have to tweak delineations with people, which is fine. Remember something, Nice and I, we were both ignorant students once. Whatever we know because we started with a blank slate, like everybody who starts anything. There, we didn't know anything about it. And we've learned what we've learned. And what we do know is that this system and this method is easier to master when you work on your own chart, delineating your own chart, and proving out events that have already occurred in your life. Once you do that, you're getting a sense. By the time you're on your third or fourth event that's already occurred, you're starting to get a sense of what's really in your chart, because not everything in your chart is happening to you or about you. It can be happening around you. You could see like this whole big murder thing going on in your chart. Maybe you went to a movie about serial killers.
hmm, yeah. That's how it translates sometimes.
Yeah. Like you Okay, so you want to know,
Yeah.
yeah, you want to know about your job, and you weren't even looking at the right thing. So we'll go over some of this. Are you on the server yet? God, I hate the lag when we have to wait.
Yeah.
because we're getting ready to wrap this up.
Yeah. Well, we can look through all of his stuff, like maybe after the show, because I guess some of that might be private.
Um,
Okay. Yeah,
but
we can talk to
but I don't.
you like maybe
But
after
yeah,
the show.
but I
I
don't
think
think I don't think he's on. I don't
are
think
you
he's.
on the on are you on the server? Yeah, we can look through all of that. But for anyone who is studying, is trying to study all of this, um, at least for me, I think to
What
not
did he have us look at?
the best.
Oh, he had
Yeah,
us.
we
What did he?
get his
Wait a
stuff.
minute. Right. What did you ask me to look at? What was it that you first asked me to look at again? Yeah, your bad homework. You got it. You've got to
Yeah,
do that. Listen, Lyle, if you want to do the astrology, like seriously, you want to talk about putting the cart before the horse. You haven't delineated your own chart, but now you're going to go do predictions. Come on. You're not the only one who does
yeah.
that, though. I don't want you to think for a second that you are the only
No, no,
person who does.
it's fine. It's fine.
Every everyone
It's time.
does it. Everyone.
Yeah. Because everyone who gets into this, or but like we get into astrology because we want to know something, right? But I'm just saying here that if you want to learn, I think the best thing to do is to go back to your old event, do the chart, do the natal things, right? And then just like keep going, because like it would be really tempting to try to predict something, but you will find really quickly that it's not that easy. It's not because you have to combine everything that you learn into a single story. And of course, like every every aspect of everyone's life is going to be included in this one picture. So it's not going to be easy to dissect.
So wait, when did
Um,
wait a second. When did you say you put this in?
I think with Lyle, we can talk to him.
Okay, because I was going to
Uh,
say I wanted to know when he put it in, and I just wanted in case there were other people. I don't know where you people are coming up with your ideas of what to look for, but like try getting hired, Ascendant Chronos,
uh
okay? Or
And actually, we have a little search thing on the app as well.
oh yeah,
That's gonna give you. It's not great at the moment, but at least it's there. You can use it to
yeah.
search,
See up
a couple
here,
things,
yeah. So
just to give you
here,
some ideas.
so let's look up here. Like I would say, Ascendant Chronos would
Yeah, it
be.
looks bad right now, but I will fix it. But yeah, at least it's there, and if you want to use it,
Oh,
you
look, there you
can.
go. Ascendant Chronos node and Haiti Chronos node. We didn't even do
Yeah,
this. I forgot to do this, the search thing. Okay.
yeah.
So,
It's what we add, keep
so
adding
look at this.
things, and
Yeah, to be
it's,
hired for work. So I don't know. This is why you need to talk to us. Again, this is why you need to talk to us. You were looking at something completely different. And so you're jumping ahead. We find that even with people when they're trying to go back, we have to talk to them and really help them kind of understand, but what really happened, because what really happened, we're going to be able to find it. But you have to focus on
yeah, but
the
to
big
to
things.
continue with us, we need to know if you're on the server, and like which name are you using on the server, so we can talk later after the show.
Yeah. Right. So do you hear what Nice is saying? It's like you need to be on the server.
Yeah, so we can talk. We
Yeah.
can
So
get you on
so
the
you're
phone,
able to
and
talk,
like,
and you can
as
also
this is
leave.
not
Yeah.
it's impossible to do this through text. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also impossible to do this on the fly. Listen, I can give a cold reading and tell people like what's happening right now. We know that. I did it for years. Okay? That's not astrology though. People typically want to know something and they will want to know the outcome of something, which requires work. Now you have to go digging. Now you have to look for those formulas, see whether or not they're going to make triple patterns, find out what matches in their chart, and it is time consuming. So there's a limit to what we can do here during a live stream. There's a limit. We can, if we have a chance to prepare, this is why we prefer that people leave your questions. And if you're somebody whose chart we've done and you're a student, we already have your data. Nobody knows when he was born. Nobody knows where he's at. Nobody knows because I'm not showing it to you. It's here in the birth info. So we can pull up your chart and have it ready for a live stream. If you have questions, we'll get to it. We will get to it. We will get to you. But the server, you can leave questions on the server in the segment and the section of the server for the Uranian astrology lessons and questions. So here, let
Yeah,
me,
and for anyone who is
yeah,
new here, we have
sure. Yeah,
all the
the
links under the description. So Lyle, I think we may have to
yeah,
wrap
because
up the show.
so
Yeah.
here,
So if you
just to show you. Look,
no 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 no.
this is why you should join the server because you can leave a message for us on the server. It's the most likely place where we're going to see and read a message. I get messages in email, on Facebook. I miss them all the time. Things get, they get away from me. I don't miss messages that are left on the server.
Oh,
So,
you are on the server, right? Okay. Let me
where
check.
under what name?
It's, he said that it's the same name that he's using right now. Let me check.
I don't recall him joining the server. Do you see us? Where are you? Are you in the classroom? Yeah, we're going to try to keep you going until we get you onto the server when we make sure you're on the server. But, this is pretty much the end of this class. And we're going to meet on the server for a little bit. And then I'm going to go get some rest because it's 1:30 in the 1:38 in the
Have to
morning.
wrap up. So if you are on the server, just text us. Text us. Either on the chat we have the lounge, we have everything. Just text us, and then just post your question and stuff like that, and then we can get to you. Yeah, because right now I think we have to wrap up. Yeah.
But where are you on the server? Like we don't see you on the server. Can you message us? Where are you?
Just
I don't
yeah.
think I honestly, Lyle, we don't see you. Where are you on the server? Can you just answer that question? Because we're going to wrap this up and I don't see you on the server. Do you see him on the server?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I searched but couldn't
Yeah.
find
Okay, so
his
I
name.
we don't know what you're talking about. You got like 2 minutes to get it together, buddy, because we got to wrap this up.
Or if you are not on the server, you can get to the link that we have under the script and under the description, and then once you do, you can just text us.
Yeah,
We will
message
see your
us,
messages,
message us, because
and
we're gonna
then
wrap.
yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. If you've
All
enjoyed
right.
this show, please let us know. Like, comment, share. If you have questions, leave your questions. We will address your questions. We're gonna come back. We're gonna have to do
Okay.
some more work on Bobby Kennedy's chart and what have you, and I will bring something back as when I have something more for you. Okay? When I have more of an answer for you and I've had a chance to look into these charts, I will come back and we will add to the presidential election charts and we'll try to get a prediction out in the next month or so. Okay? And that's that. And I want to thank everybody for showing up and coming and for being here, and we'll be back here next week. And thank you all for being patient too, by the way. We
Yep.
appreciate,
Thank
yeah,
you. Thank you so much.
we appreciate that
Yeah.
with our sound and all of our stuff. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll
Bye
see you
bye.
next week. Bye bye.